The story of the ancestors of Rama. Rama's great grandfather, the pious Dilipa of the Ikshvaku race, was renowned for his virtue. His wife Sudakshina was devoted to him, and his subjects loved him. Yet he was sad. He had no children. One day, Dilipa had an idea. He was talking to his wife Sudakshina. I shall consult sage Vasishta. He may be able to help us, so I believe. Sudakshina agreed. I am sure he will. A few days later, I have entrusted the kingdom to our loyal ministers. I am now free to visit the sage, said Dilipa to his wife Sudakshina. Thus he left the palace and reached Vasishta's ashram. At the hermitage of the sage, Dilipa bowed down before Vasishta Maharishi, and Vasishta Maharishi blessed him and said, I trust all is well with you and your kingdom. Dilipa said, By your grace, master, my kingdom could not be more prosperous or my subjects happier. Yet, Dilipa hesitantly continued, My queen and I are very unhappy. We yearn for a son. Why are we deprived thus? Vasishta closed his eyes for a moment. Then he said, Long, long ago, when Ganga flowed in heaven and you were a young prince, you had gone to visit Indra with Sudakshina, your cherished bride. While returning home in your chariot, you passed by Surabhi, the divine cow, also called Kamadhenu, and you ignored her. And Kamadhenu so thought, Ah, here comes the crown prince of Ayodhya with his bride to pay me homage. I shall bless them with many valiant sons. But you were engrossed in your young bride, however, that you hardly noticed Surabhi. She felt slighted, and her intended blessings came forth as a curse. She thought, Vain prince, may you and your bride never have any children, till you atone for the neglecting me by serving my offspring. But the din of Ganga was so loud that you did not even hear the curse, and you drove on happily in your chariot. Vasishta said, As the wise will tell you, those who slight the worthy are themselves the losers. Dilipa then prayed to Vasishta, O venerable one, it was an unintended slight. Can I atone for it? Can you help me? Listen, along with your wife, wait on Surabhi's daughter Nandini with love and devotion. Pleased, Nandini will bestow on you the priceless boon you seek. Thus blessing the Dilipa, Vasishta asked him to stay in his ashram for a while. At that moment, Nandini came by and stood near the sage. Vasishta said, At dawn, Sudakshina must escort her to the forest, and in the evening wait to welcome her. You must attend upon her during the day entirely. Thus may you win Nandini's grace and become the proud father of mighty sons. So, before dawn each day, Sudakshina worshipped Nandini devotedly and led her towards the edge of the forest. I shall wait here to welcome her in the evening, said Sudakshina. From dawn to dusk, Dilipa waited upon Nandini. As she walked, he followed her. When she stopped, he stopped. When she rested, he too relaxed. At dusk each day, my beloved queen waiting patiently as usual to welcome Nandini and take her home. Thus thought Dilipa. And so 21 days like this rolled on in the ashram of Vasishta. On the 22nd day, Nandini wandered out of the forest. The king is patient and attentive. Now I must test his valor, so Nandini thought. Up the green slopes of the Himalayas she ventured. Nandini got inside Shiva's own grove. Let her wander, her innate sanctity will protect her from harm. Thus thought Dilipa. And Dilipa turned to gaze at the natural splendor of the surroundings of the beautiful Himalayan forest. Suddenly, It is my charge. Who has dared to harm her? What is that noise? Dilipa was wondering. He ran into the grove to find Nandini at the mercy of a lion. I will shoot the lion and free you in a moment, gentle one, do not worry, said Dilipa. But to his amazement, Dilipa found his arm paralyzed. Even greater was his amazement when the lion started speaking to him. O king, I have cast a spell on you. Shiva has posted me here to guard this tree, which both Parvati and he love as a son. The cow has trespassed, she must die. Dilipa answered, No, I cannot let you kill my Guru's cow. Take me, kill me instead. The lion again said, How can I? It is the cow that has trespassed. You only followed her like a devoted son. Dilipa answered, Unlike a devoted son, I am willing to give up my life for hers. But the lion was not convinced. The lion continued, By dying, you would be saving only one life, but by living, you could protect millions. You are a king of a great nation. Besides, your dependents would be lost without you. So, preserve your valuable life, dear king, and return home. Dilipa was not ready to leave Nandini at the mercy of the lion. Would you be able to face Shiva if his tree were destroyed? How then can I betray the faith of my venerable sage? The lion said, Do not fear the sage. You can appease him with gifts. The lion tried to convince Dilipa to its best, but the mighty Dilipa was not ready for that. He said, But what about my honor? I value my reputation which will live after me, far above mere life which is fleeting. So please accept my offer and let my charge go unharmed. Thus pleased by the king's righteousness, the lion agreed. Okay, king, then so be it. As soon as the lion agreed, the spell was broken and Dilipa could move. Throwing his weapons aside, he fell before the lion expecting death from its paws. Instead, a sweet voice sounded in his ears, and flowers showering from the sky. O my son, rise up. As Dilipa slowly rose, he was astonished to see Nandini where the lion should have been. Nandini spoke to him. Do not be amazed, O valiant king. I created this illusion to test you. Vasishta's spiritual power guards me so well that even Yama himself cannot touch me. Nandini continued, Your loyalty and devotion have pleased me. You deserve a boon. Dilipa was praying, Then give me a noble son, dear mother. Nandini agreed, So be it. A few days later, the royal couple returned to their palace in a swift chariot. Then, in due time, Sudakshina bore Dilipa a son. Sudakshina was so happy. She said, Our son shall be the Indra of the earth. His chariot shall range over her remotest boundaries. Dilipa said, Then let us name him Raghu, the swift-moving one. Soon, Raghu was old enough to begin his education. He brought him to Vasishta's ashram and said, To you, the wisest in the land, I entrust the spiritual training of my son. Dilipa himself instructed Raghu in the art of war. Raghu grew up to become a generous noble prince. A few years later, Raghu was installed into the palace. He finished all his learning and education. My son, I plan to perform my 100th sacrifice, the Ashwamedha, and earn the title Lord of 100 Sacrifices, which Indra alone now enjoys. You shall protect the sacrificial horse as it roams through the kingdoms of friend and foe, said Dilipa to Raghu. As Raghu and his comrades followed the horse, they defeated and subdued many kings. The kings thought, You have defeated me now, but I shall have my revenge. Some day I shall make you suffer the same humiliation. Meanwhile, Indra, king of the Devas, was perturbed. He was thinking, If Dilipa performs the Ashwamedha and completes it, I will no longer have sole claim over the title, the Lord of 100 Sacrifices. So, making himself invisible, Indra drove off the horse. Seeing the horse taken through the sky, the soldiers were screaming, The horse, it's being stolen. Raghu thought, But I don't see anybody. Indra, however, had not reckoned with Nandini's affection for Raghu. As the prince and his friends stood perplexed, she blessed him with supernatural vision. So, Raghu was able to see who is stealing the horse. Ah, I have received the grace to see things not visible to the human eye. And he saw that the thief was Indra, king of the Devas. He said, Let the horse go, O great one, you should smite our foes, not steal the horse. You know you will enjoy a major share of the sacrifice. Then why do you hinder us? Dilipa asked Lord Indra. Indra was amazed by Raghu's bold words. He stopped his chariot. Noble prince, you speak well, but by performing the Ashwamedha, your father plans to rob me of my title. I mean to keep it, so denied Lord Indra to return the horse. But in reply, Raghu raised his bow and took aim at Indra. He said, "You will have to kill me first before taking the horse." The arrow found its mark on Lord Indra. Indra became very furious. He placed a deadly arrow on his bow and took aim. But Raghu was too quick for him. And before Indra could recover from the shock, Raghu shot down his flag and the entire chariot broken into pieces. His third arrow cut Indra's bowstring into two. Engaged, Indra flung his bow away and, seizing his lethal weapon Vajrayudha, Lord Indra attacked Raghu. Alas, our prince has fallen. The soldiers were feeling helpless. How will we face the king? But lo, the next moment Raghu was on his feet again. Indra was amazed. Wow, you have withstood my weapon, which even mountains cannot face. I will give you whatever you ask for, except the horse. Raghu answered, "Then let my father be given the full merits of all his sacrifices, even though he may not complete the 100th, and let my father know this before I reach Ayodhya." Indra agreed and flew away, and Indra's chariot soared heavenwards. Indra kept his promise. A proud Dilipa stood waiting to welcome the hero as he entered Ayodhya in triumph. Dilipa said, "Dear son, Indra's messenger spoke of your valor too, but your scarred hands are more eloquent. Later, I now wish to entrust the kingdom to you and lead an ascetic life with your mother." So Raghu became king and Dilipa with Sudakshina retired to the forest. Meanwhile, the vassal kings whom Raghu had subdued now rose in revolt. "If your king wants his tribute, let him come and get it." Raghu made a decision. "We shall leave on a campaign of universal conquest. We will not return till we have conquered the entire earth." He set on the campaign at the head of a huge army. A few years later, his mighty mission accomplished, conquering the entire earth, a triumphant Raghu marched homewards to Ayodhya. The herald announced his arrival in the city, and instead of their crowns, the dust of his chariot covers their humbled heads. Our king returns with untold wealth. His power established, Raghu now decided to give away all his wealth. Raghu expressed, "Enough wealth should be first given to all those kings whom I have conquered. The rest should be distributed among my subjects." As the last lot of treasures was given away, a young sage stood before Raghu. He was thinking, "Alas, there is nothing left." But Raghu was welcoming the sage. "Welcome, O sage. How is your guru? What can I do for you?" "All is well with us, O king. I had come for the fee which I have to pay to my teacher. But I see that I have come too late. I will have to go and try elsewhere." As the sage turned to go, Raghu stopped him. "Wait, O virtuous one, I cannot let you do that. What is your guru's demand?" The sage mentioned the amount. Raghu was thinking, "He has conquered the entire earth. Who can I conquer further? Kubera alone now possesses such wealth. I will have to take it from him." "You shall have the amount you need. Be my guest for a few days while I secure it." Thus Raghu assured the sage. That night Raghu got his chariot and weapons ready. He was thinking, "I shall invade Alakapuri, the city of Kubera, at dawn and challenge Kubera." When Kubera divined his intentions, however, he was thinking, "I am no match for Raghu in battle. I had better give him the wealth he needs before he attacks me." And Kubera rained a shower of gold coins into Raghu's coffers. At dawn, as Raghu was about to set out, one of the ministers stopped him. "Lord, wait, while you slept, the Lord of Wealth has filled your coffers." When Raghu told the sage about this news, he was amazed. He was thinking, "To all great kings on earth gladly yields her wealth. How great must he be when heaven itself showers him with wealth?" The sage said, "O king, may you be blessed with a son as great as you." And so the promised son was born to Raghu. He shall be called Aja, the unborn one, arisen from the Supreme Soul. Thus Raghu became very happy with his son. Aja grew up to be as virtuous and valiant a son as Raghu was to his parents. Meanwhile, at Vidarbha nation, Indumati, the princess, the sister of King Bhoja, had come of age. So the Bhoja was thinking, Indumati must soon be married. I shall hold a Swayamvara for her, to which I shall invite many a noble king and chief. The invitation reached the court of Raghu. He sent for Aja. So Raghu told Aja, Indumati would make a peerless bride for you. Go to Vidarbha nation and win her, my son. So Aja set out with a vast retinue. Towards the end of the journey, as they set up the camp on the banks of the Narmada, a surprising thing happened. An angry rogue elephant from the wild attacked them. Aja raised his spear and hurled it at the animal. The moment the spear pierced the animal, it turned into a beautiful Gandharva and said, You have redeemed me from a curse. As a reward, please accept this magical spear. It can put whole armies to sleep. Thus the Gandharva thanked Aja and flew away to his own land. The next morning, Aja and his retinue resumed the journey. He was thinking, the meeting with the Gandharva tells me that I have been favored. Perhaps I am fated to win the fair bride. At Vidarbha kingdom, Bhoja himself came out to receive Aja. Welcome, O son of Raghu. You may rest tonight at the special palace I have built for you. My men will guide you to your throne at the Swayamvara hall tomorrow. Next morning, the charming Aja entered the hall. All the kings assembled for the Swayamvara were looking at him and exclaiming and thinking and talking within themselves. The son of Raghu, the great son of Raghu, what hope do we have now of winning the fair bride? I wish that he were not here. The air was tense as the mighty kings awaited her entry, each with the hope that he would be the chosen lord. Soon the palanquin bearing Indumati was brought in. All eyes turned to gaze at her beauty. Sunanda, a royal matron, led her to the kings. The valiant and pious lord of Magadha is here, said Sunanda to Indumati. She felt, no, not this one. Her friend Sunanda took Indumati to another king. The handsome king of Anga, worthy of all love, is here, said Sunanda to Indumati. Indumati, still not convinced. She thought, no, not mine. Sunanda again took her to another king, the devout king of Avanti, who in looks and valor rivals the very Devas. Indumati still felt, no, not in my eyes. Let us move on. At last she stood before Aja. Sunanda said, This is the great Aja, the crown prince of Ayodhya, the mighty Raghu's son. Indumati made no comment but only blushed in confusion. He is the chosen one, I shall tease her, thought her friend Sunanda. She said to Indumati, Shall we pass on, my princess? But Indumati hardly heard her. With her gaze still locked in his, she placed the garland around Aja's neck. There was a roar of approval from the assembly. Ganga has become one with her fit mate, the ocean. The people were very happy. While the rival suitors looked with hostility at the pair, King Bhoja led Indumati and Aja through the festive city. The looser kings discussing within themselves, Raghu once mercilessly humbled us and now his son walks off with our prize. We must avenge the insult. Let us waylay them as they return to Ayodhya. 3 days later, Aja and his bride set out for Ayodhya. While the chariots were passing through the forest on the journey towards Ayodhya, suddenly, an arrow! It's an ambush! The disappointed suitors might be striking us. Oh Lord, what could we do now? But the mighty Aja was not afraid. Take courage, timid one. Aja shall not lose you, his very life. He turned to an old and experienced courtier. I entrust my bride to you. Guard her while we mount the counter-attack. His bride in safe hands, Aja turned on his foes. Charge now. For a while he let the battle rage on. Then, weary of bloodshed and slaughter, Aja made a decision. I shall now use my magic spear. At once the bewildered kings and their armies were charmed into sleep. The noise and confusion of battle was stilled. Aja blew his conch to announce his victory. Then he went to Indumati and said, Come on, behold our foes. Could such as they ever hope to rob me of you? And thus they resumed their journey to Ayodhya. The mighty king, my father, will rejoice when he hears of our victory over his most powerful vassals. When they reached Ayodhya, everyone was happy and welcoming the pair. News of your valor has travelled home before you. Come on, my children, the royal household waits to honor you. Later, my son, I am old now and would like to renounce the world, become the sovereign and rule the country in the tradition of your ancestors. Thus said Raghu to Aja. And Raghu took to a life of austerity and meditation. Aja was a just, wise, and strong king and earned the same love and respect from his subjects that his father had enjoyed. The people were celebrating his ruling. All that Ayodhya now needs is an heir as pious and valiant as our king. And that hope too was soon fulfilled when a son was born to Indumati, the son who became known as Dasharatha, the father of Rama.